Should you move in with a significant other to save money?
Man, I'll go first. I've always had the philosophy of having something, whether it be an apartment. Um, I don't think saving money is worth your, how can I put this? You just never know where that relationship's gonna go. There's nothing substantial or tangible that's gonna allow you to have that mindset to save money. Money versus your dignity or integrity isn't doesn't go together. So I feel like I would still have an apartment of $500 to $1,000, so I can call that home and then kick it with my girl at her place if she owned a house or whatever, just so I can have something to go back to just in case that relationship failed. I don't think there's a dollar value you can put on that safety net, that stability.
Okay. Well, right. Just to throw it out there, because I know
Mm-hmm.
there might be some people that think this way. Of course, this is geographically specific because in New York, for a good, decent one bedroom apartment, you might be paying $3,800 a
Right.
month, and then at that point, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta find somebody you can
Yeah,
live with
six
to make
people.
that
Yeah,
happen.
right.
So so my advice may be a little bit different for a New Yorker in that case, right?
Okay.
Then shacking up might just make the most financial sense, and I'm sure you could agree with that.
I do agree with that.
You
Yeah.
know, so but yeah, just in general, yeah, I mean, I've never shacked up. I'd rather just pay the bill and just budget around that. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just another financial decision. I think all financial decisions have potential consequences.
Right.
So I mean, if you want to live with your significant other and it doesn't disagree with your religion or ethics, then go for it.
Yeah, it's risky.
Protect yourself. You
Okay,
know.
how can you protect yourself? I know you have some philosophies on that. You have an idea.
Yes. Number one, don't go in and live with somebody somewhere where you cannot pay the rent by yourself.
Perfect.
That's just off top. And discuss. I mean, I know it may not mean much, especially in an apartment lease situation, but have an agreement up front. If this doesn't work out, what are the next steps? Do I take over the apartment? Do you take over the apartment? I know it's a tough conversation. Everybody wants to think they're going to be together forever, but you have to have this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next thing, if somebody owns a property, owns a home, and somebody moves in with the other, this is going to get tricky depending on the sex of the person who's moving in with who.
Okay.
Yeah, forget it. I'm going to say it. I don't care, if you're a boy or girl, if you're moving in with somebody that's not your wife or your husband
Mm-hmm.
or a partner, you should have some kind of agreement,
Yes.
like a lease agreement for whoever doesn't live there, right? You can get a real estate agent or somebody to draw it up for you guys, and you have an agreement that you're gonna pay X amount of dollars to live there. Whatever, however low or high it may be, I think that's very important. And because obviously, when you live with somebody, you can't just kick them out. You got to give them 30-day notice. So all of that nice contract, there's no hard feelings. Everybody understands.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Those are good tools for people to protect themselves. I just feel like going in to a relationship, you should have your own spot the whole time. If you guys are planning to get married, and you guys propose to each other or whatever, vice versa, then that's a good idea. Always move into a situation together if you're planning to be with that person for the rest of your life. But would to piggyback on what you're saying, definitely have some type of contract or agreement put in place before anybody moves in. Because if you give somebody $800 or you put in some renovations to somebody's property and then you guys break up, you're not going to get that asset back. You're not going to make any money off of that investment that you put into that property. That person that owns that house is going to reap the benefits of everything. And on top of that, for the social dynamic, it's like you don't want to go into something and then your girl or your guy is like, I own this. This is mine. And then you have this argument, and then you're like, well, where can I go if this person has a problem with me, right? you got to go in the other room. You got to sleep on the couch. Those are things that I would want to avoid. And there's nothing that you could put a price tag on that. That's priceless.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind, exactly.
Okay, well, right, there's other ways to look at it. Like my parents never wanted me to shack up with anybody.
Yeah.
And I can remember the first serious relationship I was in when I was in college. I was actually in pharmacy school. And my first year of pharmacy school, I lived in a townhouse with 2 roommates. And it was cool, but, it was kind of noisy. And, everybody had their different personalities. And I said, hey, I think the best academic move for me is to live on my own. I talked to my parents about it, whatever. But, I ended up doing that. And, I worked at the pharmacy between classes to try to pay for it. Took out student loans to pay for it. But that's what I did, right? And that was my plan. The girl I was dating at the time was actually upset that I didn't ask her to move in with me.
Okay.
She had her family telling her, like, why doesn't he want to move in with you? And, that kind of caused some strife in the relationship. So, yeah, man, it gets weird. I mean, because I was a college student, and how I was raised, my dad told me, don't have a woman live with you if you can't do, you can barely pay the bills yourself.
Right.
If you can barely take care of yourself, you can't have somebody living with you. And that was my mentality. And, of course, the relationship ended up not lasting partly due to that. But, even then, I said how I felt up front. I said, hey, I want to live by myself. I don't want to shack. That's not for me. I made a financial plan for how I was going to pay for that apartment, and that's what I did.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like what you said about having roommates too. Like, I had a situation where, maybe I couldn't afford the total month's rent, but I knew the person that I was rooming with could, based off of, their family situation or their financial situation. So I had a different outlook on that at the time, but going in, definitely you have to, have your own space, your own income, and you can't live off of somebody else's fortune, man. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, man.
So.
Well, you got anything else for him this week?
No, man. Get out there, start shopping, get your family members some gifts, drive up that economic value of life, man. That's it.
Support your friends if they have businesses.
That's true.
Buy their stuff. Shout out to my homeboy CJ, documented by T. Carey. Get you a sweatshirt or a hoodie. I'll drop the link in the video. Shout out my other homeboy, Skyfit Official. He has his merch line. Just support all your friends, support your people, promote them, because at some point you're going to want to sell something, you're going to want to do something, and you'll love to have that support as well. Again, shout out to RVS Apparel. He shouted out the channel, got me some followers. Shout out to him. I'll let you guys know when he drops his next product. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I have.
Yeah, and then we're going to start that Robin Hood series that we're going to do probably this week. Right, Chris?
This week.
All right, we're going to do it. I'll start off with $1,000, try to get to $10,000. So that's going to be the next series that we do. And that's all I have, man.
Oh, the merch is coming sooner than later.
And we're going to drop this ebook, right?
Ebook is going to come after the merch, but that's sooner than later as well. And the ebook will just be very quick, short, dirty tips about the stock market, what we've learned thus far, a little reference book for certain terms in the stock lingo and stuff like that. And I think you guys will really appreciate it. It's going to come at a good, cheap, low price. And for you guys that are first-time investors that don't have anybody to teach you about investment, you can just reference that book and kind of go from there. Merch, ebook, it's all coming. Thank you guys for watching. Young Equity Chris.
It's your boy, Young Equity Devin. Let's get it.
Peace.